I was beginning to get cocky. No matter how horrendous, every meat beast had an easy weak point. I was increasingly confident I could make it home alive. Wondering if perhaps they had only put the world under some sort of hypnotic spell, because we were simply too powerful, too dangerous for them to defend against. I was beginning to feel like a hero after all, like I was living my own video game. This self-important high was cut short on about the 15th level, when the first real wrench was thrown into my hit things with a shovel strategy. The thing blocking my path was not made of meat, not on the outside at least. It appeared to be made entirely of iron, rugged and nearly black. A torso like a department store mannequin stood atop 3 jointed, knobby legs, and its single arm terminated in a pair of jagged tongs, periodically clacking shut. The oversized head resembled some sort of huge pot or boiler, with a pair of cartoonish painted-on eyes. An orange-yellow glow could be seen through its many cracks and vents. I didn't suspect there was much a shovel could do to this one, and it neither backed off nor approached. It simply stood there waiting, daring me to make a move. I could see a dense river of meat bodies surging along the path only 3 levels below, making the same slow spiral around the tower as I was. Fragile or not, there was no way I could keep their numbers at bay forever. I wondered if I'd be taken alive. A dozen images flashed through my mind. The eggheads, the things I'd seen here, things I'd seen in PETA propaganda videos. Any one of them could be my fate.
Let's just talk about this, Sonny Mom.
The voice snapped me back to reality, if you could call this reality. It had come from in front of me, from the robot cook or whatever it was. What? It spoke again.
It doesn't have to be this way, Missy George.
Besides its mangled grasp of pronouns, it spoke English with remarkable clarity. Its voice was soft, with just a slight metallic quality. "I'm sorry?" was all I could manage, still dazed.
We could put you right back where you belong, little thing-a-duck. We can even fix you up like the rest. You'll never know.
I knew exactly what it was talking about. The brainwashing. As far as I knew, I was making first contact with a non-human intelligence, and I had a billion questions about what they were doing to us, where they came from, what was out there in the universe or multiverse or whatever we might be living in. Only one thing actually came out. Fuck yourselves. It sighed a hollow metal sigh, a little smoke escaping from the face vents. It seemed to sink a little at my response.
If that's how you want it, whatchamaboozle.
It rose threateningly on its 3 legs, and I realized what it reminded me of. A barbecue grill. In the blink of an eye, its clawed arm shot out and clamped around the handle of my precious shovel, effortlessly tearing it from my grip and dropping it to the walkway. It shot out again, and this time got me by the neck. It slammed me to the ground, taking apparent care not to choke me just yet, but at least cause considerable pain. Its legs clanged noisily as it positioned itself directly over me and planted its metal ass directly onto my stomach, pinning me down even tighter. Lines of black grease began to roll down the thing's artificial face, sizzling furiously. I screamed weakly through the creature's grasp when a single tiny droplet met the exposed skin of my arm. It felt like being branded. The monster giggled.
Hee hee, hee hee hee.
It spoke out the laughter like it was reading from a bad script. If its eyes had been real, it would have been looking directly into mine, and if it had lips, I'm sure they would be smiling. It bent forward, the grease now cascading in a thick curtain, threatening any moment to start raining in hissing streams onto my exposed face. The claw around my neck tightened, finally pinching shut my airways. It was going to burn my eyes out while it strangled me to death. I let go of the thing's arm to shield my face as best I could, wishing I'd had the foresight to be wearing heavier graded gloves. As I waited the torrent of boiling grease, the thing's giggling reached a fever pitch.
He. Ha ha ha. He, huh?
It stopped. The grease didn't come. Removing my hands from my eyes, I saw that the monster's head was turned away from me.
You.
It shrieked. I couldn't tell what it was looking at until it unexpectedly loosened its grip on my neck and lurched to its feet. I could see small white shapes out of the corner of my eye.
Ew. Gross.
It wailed like a child as a rubbery hobgoblin scrambled up its metal body like boneless gecko lizards. It started to stumble about, trying its best to pick off the teeming pest with its single arm, but they slipped through the claw like jelly. I wasn't sure how long it was going to be distracted, so I dove to my shovel before teetering painfully to my feet. I could see the swelling legion of meat just one level below.
Vile things. Vile. They're in my vents.
I was almost too fascinated to act. The hobgoblins had pried the lid off the rusty grilled head, exposing an oily, blackened little form underneath. It was too tangled and burnt to make out, but I could see various limbs waving frantically to keep the gremlin things at bay. I raised the shovel, preparing to strike. All at once, the little creatures snapped their heads in my direction and dropped like flies from the metal being, falling to the path and scattering out of sight. The grill face, too, turned towards me.
Thank you. You have no idea what...
I let out a berserker howl as I brought down the shovel squarely on the black, twitching body, splattering it with a wet crunch and a deafening bang against the white-hot grill it rested upon. The metal construct stood still and silent for several agonizing moments, before it finally began to pitch backwards, creaking like a rusty door being banged to the ground. Dead or asleep, or whatever the shit I just did, I probed it a few times before cautiously stepping around it and continuing up. Something didn't want me to reach the top, and I felt pretty good about it.